Narissa. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to share with you 4 very easy dinner ideas, 4 dinners that I've made over the last few weeks while at home in quarantine. Hopefully this video gives you some new dinner ideas. The first recipe idea I'm going to share with you is air fryer brats. The next one is homemade sushi, yum. And then asparagus soup served with some crumbled bacon, and also my go-to cheesesteak with potato wedges. So first up, air fryer brats with green beans and rice mixture. So air fryer brats, if you have never tried them, are so simple and the best way, honestly, to cook brats. You don't have to get out the grill, you don't have to clean the grill, then you don't have to clean up afterwards. These brats get so nice and crispy in such a short amount of time, and the only ingredient is brats. So I am in love with my air fryer. If any of you follow my channel, you know that I'm also in love with my Instant Pot, but I may be more in love with my air fryer than I am my Instant Pot, if you can believe that. So I have 4 deer brats here actually that I am putting into the air fryer. I had preheated my air fryer to 400 degrees for 3 minutes, and I cooked these brats for 11 minutes, shaking them and turning them halfway through, and you can see how nice and crispy they are. This is like my new favorite meal, brats in the air fryer. I will link the air fryer that I have down below. It is excellent. I love it, and it's extremely easy to use. The next dinner idea I'm going to share is homemade sushi. Now my husband and I love to do this on a weekend night since we can't really go out for sushi right now. Our state is still closed, and we don't want to carry out sushi, So I'm going to make a few different types of sushi rolls here with no raw ingredients. So I'm going to take an English cucumber and take most of the skin off and cut some cucumber into like strips, square strips. So this is going to be one ingredient in my sushi roll. Then I'm going to take some cream cheese that I have just taken out of the refrigerator so it's nice and cold, and I'm going to cut the cream cheese into strips, square strips as well, just like I did the cucumber. Now you really can put anything you want into your sushi roll. I love the combination of cream cheese with the fake crab meat for some reason. One of my favorite rolls is the cream cheese and salmon roll, so that's probably why. But really, the options are endless. You can put whatever you would like into your sushi roll. So I'm going to get quite a bit of a cream cheese here because that's one of my favorite ingredients. And then I'm going to clean up a little spot because I'm going to get out my imitation crab meat here. I don't know what imitation crab meat actually is. Isn't it some type of fish that's like soaked in salt or something? Does anyone know? I guess I can Google it. But I am going to cut some strips just like I did the cream cheese and the cucumber so that I can line it all up in my sushi. And then I'm also going to take some of my imitation crab meat and chop it up extremely fine so that I can mix it with some sriracha mayo and use that as a filling to one of my sushi rolls. I really like this Lee Kum Kee sriracha mayo. I think that's how you pronounce it. But if you don't have or can't find this, I'll link it down below. It's pretty easy to find at Walmart or on Amazon. But if you can't find it for whatever reason, all you do is mix mayo with sriracha. I prefer Miracle Whip mixed with sriracha, but you can use either or. It still tastes pretty good. So I have my fillings all ready to go, and now I'm going to get out my bamboo sushi rolling mat as well as a glass of water. So I made this sushi rice. This is a very popular brand, this Nishiki sushi rice. I had it already ready to go, and I am going to pat this out into a rectangle on my mat, on my sushi rolling mat, and use the water so that the rice doesn't stick to my hands. So this particular roll, I'm going to line up some cucumber, some cream cheese, and some imitation crab meat, and then you just roll it up and pull it tight. Roll it up and pull it tight. And I had a little bit of a bare spot on the end, so I went ahead and added more rice. No big deal at all. Just pull it up, roll it up, and pull it tight. Pretty simple. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So then I'm just going to set that aside and sprinkle a little bit of water on the mat and add another rectangle portion of my sushi rice. And this time I'm going to use that imitation crab meat and sriracha mayo mixture to make the next roll. And I actually added a little bit too much to this roll. That's quite a bit of filling for a little bite-sized piece of sushi, but it worked out. Now I had the great idea this time. I've made sushi several times at home, and this time I had the great idea, you know what, if this doesn't work out, or if I'm like too tired to mess with the bamboo mat and all of that, you could totally make a sushi bowl. And I think I might try that next time we're craving sushi. Just make a little bowl with your rice and with your filling. Sprinkle some soy sauce or some soy sauce mixed with the wasabi as like a little dressing to your bowl. I think that sounds excellent and might be just as good, even though having the sushi rolls is kind of like a nostalgic and part of the fun. But again, I just stuffed up another one of my cream cheese, cucumber, and imitation crab meat rolls and rolled it up tight, and it turned out perfectly. This is probably the hardest part, cutting the sushi. So I'm just dipping my extremely sharp knife into the water that I have sitting just off camera, and that helps you get right through the sushi without all of the rice sticking to your knife. The other thing you can do is put your sushi rolls in the refrigerator or the freezer for 5 or 10 minutes, and that really helps with the cutting as well. So this was such a good meal. We completely stuffed ourselves. We ate all of it, I think, but it was really good. And I have all the little plates and things to go with it, so it makes it kind of fun and special. The next recipe I'm going to share with you is asparagus soup. Now, I know it doesn't look that great, but it is very good. It's a creamy asparagus potato soup. And now we have a plentiful garden full of asparagus. We have rows and rows and rows of asparagus, excuse me, way too many stalks of asparagus that we could ever consider using. So my entire family and extended family and friends all have a supply of asparagus throughout the spring. So this asparagus soup is something that I make every year around this time, of course, in the spring when the asparagus starts to pop. So I am just grabbing some out of my bag here. I chopped up one onion and put it into a big stock pot with some oil to get that sauteing. And then I'm just using that trick to get the woody stems off of the asparagus. The trick is you hold both ends and pull it towards you, and wherever it breaks is where the end or beginning of the woody stem is. So then I just kind of lined it up and cut the woody stems off the rest of the asparagus all at once, and then cut them into 1-inch sections or so. So I'm going to put the asparagus in after my onions have sauteed for a few minutes and let those saute in that oil as well to get them nice and green and started on their way to getting soft. And then I'm going to add 4 cups of chicken stock, which is 1 whole carton of chicken stock. All right, so the next step is to add your spices. Now, this is where I would change something in the recipe for next time. I actually used a different recipe this time than I normally do, and this one called for oregano and parsley, as well as some onion powder. I didn't like the oregano added to it. My husband actually did, so there you go. But it also calls for some baked potatoes rather than putting the raw potatoes in the soup and letting them boil with the rest of the soup, it calls for chunking up some baked potatoes. So I baked 2 potatoes in the microwave in my baked potato sack. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Baked potato sack. It takes 4 minutes per baked or per potato, and it's a quick and easy way to cook some baked potatoes if you want to do it quick. So I removed about 2 cups of the potatoes and the onions and the asparagus, and then the rest of it I'm going to blend up with the immersion blender. I just got this new immersion blender. The one I had, my mom got for me a long time ago, and it finally quit, so I got this nice new stainless steel one, and I love it. So I'm adding those 2 cups back to the soup and adding some milk, and this is the finished product. I added some crumbled bacon to the top, and it was excellent. So the next recipe I'm going to share with you is one that is a definite go-to for us. It is cheesesteak with some potato wedges. So I am just going to cut up some green peppers here, 2 green peppers and 2 onions, and cut them into strips. Now this is my favorite way to cut up green peppers. You cut the top of the green pepper off and you cut the bottom of the green pepper off, and then you can take your knife easily into the center of the pepper and carve out the seeds and the fleshy part that you don't want in your recipe. And then you can either cut it into rings or you can cut it in half and cut it into strips like I'm doing. Now for the most important part, the meat. Now you literally can use any kind of meat that you want to for this recipe. I am using extremely lean venison backstrap here. You can use anything, because the key to this is to cut the steak so super thin that you're actually almost shaving it, and that's what you want here, and it's going to cook in 2 minutes. So I am using an extremely sharp knife, and I am essentially shaving it. I'm not even cutting like a whole strip of meat. It's so thin that it's really only cutting like a half of a strip of meat. And then I'm going to go through and chop it a little bit more. So again, you can use any type of meat here. It really is just how you chop the meat that, in my opinion, makes this cheesesteak so good and so easy. So I've got my big stainless steel pot here, and I'm going to put some olive oil in the bottom of the pan and warm it up, and then saute my onions and peppers to the point where they are soft but still a little crunchy. That's how I like them. You can cook them however long or however little you like. I'm also going to salt and pepper them. The salt helps move them along and get some of the water to come out of the vegetables quicker. So then I'm just going to set those vegetables aside, and I'm going to cook this meat. Now, like I said, it cooks really fast, so you just want to throw it in a hot pan and it's going to brown up very quickly. And you don't want to overcook it, of course. But don't forget to season your meat as well. So I'm going to liberally season it with salt and also with a little bit of pepper. So you can see how quickly it's browning up already. It literally takes less than 5 minutes to brown up. And then of course I serve this with some air fryer oven fries. Now I chose not to have a bun or cheese this night, but throw this on a bun with some provolone cheese. Excellent dinner idea. So that is the last dinner idea out of my 4 easy dinner ideas. So like I said, I hope this gives you some inspiration for some new dinner ideas while we're all stuck at home. I hope everyone is staying safe. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!